Now, I'm not the most religious person, and I was never a religious person until one point in my life. I like to call it the lowest hour. At your lowest hour. That's the rock bottom you hit. The rock bottom you hit. The lowest point you ever reach in your life. Who do you call for? Think about that for a little bit. No one to call for, no friends. Your family has turned their back on you. You can't even trust yourself. Who do you call for? Everybody, every man on earth, every animal on earth turns to God at that point because we need that supernatural force to save us. Because we know in our minds that no one on this planet will look after us, that no one will hear our cry of help, but God will. And that's why we turn to God. And when I reached my lowest point, I was not religious at all before this. I believed in God, but I was agnostic. But at my lowest hour, I called for God and I embraced Him. And I realized that He's the only person who could help me. And now I want to help you. God represents hope. I pray that you never encounter your lowest hour. I always wish that you always have a happy life. And you do have some downs, so you learn from it. But no man should ever reach that point where he has to turn to God. That's a very low point because no other person on this planet can help you. And God represents hope. Another thing God represents is gratitude. So God calls you. It calls me and calls you to follow gratitude, to preach gratitude, to pursue gratitude. Always be grateful because there's someone right now as we speak, right now as I speak to this camera, there's someone at his lowest hour. He's praying to God, asking Him for the strength, asking Him to be saved. No family members looking after him, no friends, so-called friends are the first. I'll make a video about this, but friends are the first people to leave you. Then it's your family. Your family is the last point of hope. After that, you're on your own. And when you lose faith in yourself, there's only one person left to call, and that is God. And I want to express the gratitude that I feel knowing that there's someone at their lowest point right now. There are 8 billion people on earth. I bet you 1,000,000% that there's somebody at their lowest hour right now. And it's our duty to help them. So not only do we preach gratitude, pursue gratitude, practice gratitude, but the next point God calls you to do is help people at their lowest hour. Become their God. Their friends turn their back on them. Their families turn their back on them. But we can help them. We can be the ray of hope they're missing. We can be the ray of hope they're calling out for. If even God doesn't hear us, a fellow human being can hear them. And I want to be that hope. I started this channel so I can be that hope for the people at their lowest hour. I was one of them. At one point. I used to scroll through YouTube searching for a fix for my life, fix for my depression, but there was nobody there to help me. So I thought I could become that beacon. Once I'm in a stable position, once I rise out of that pit, I can become in a stable position where I can help somebody in their lowest hour. So if you are in your lowest hour and you're searching for YouTube for a fix for your life, you've come to the right place. I want to help you. I want to tell other people to help each other. So if you encounter someone in the comment section asking for help them, give them advice just as how I'm going to give them advice. And I cannot reiterate the point enough that we should always practice gratitude. Gratitude is the biggest weapon we have in this evil world. Yes, there are people doing better than us, but there are people doing worse than us, and there are people doing worse than the worst of them. I've seen this through my own eyes. I've visited third world countries, and I've seen how broke people are, what they're willing to do for money. They have families to feed. I've seen them with my own eyes, and I feel so helpless. I want to help them, but there's only so much I can do. I'm not a billionaire. I'm not a millionaire. I don't have any skills, but I can tell them. I can motivate them. That's what I think I can do. I can motivate someone in their lowest hour to rise up. There's only one way to go when you're at your lowest hour, and that's up. So if I can help even one person through this video and help them get out of the lowest hour, my one advice would be to practice gratitude. Yes, you're at your lowest point, but always remember in your mind that there is somebody doing worse than you. There are people without limbs. There are people without organs. There are people fighting cancer. There are people who are going to die and they know it. Terminal illness. Imagine that. You know you're gonna die in a few months and you have a few months to live. Imagine the psyche of that person. Imagine what they're going through. There's always somebody worse than you. So I want to put this idea forward to you if you're on your lowest hour and if you're fighting for a cure, if you're searching YouTube for a cure to your depression or to fix your life, I'm going to tell you, practice gratitude. Always start with being grateful. Always start there and you'll always find happiness. I was at my lowest hour. I had no one. My family had turned their backs backs on me. My friends, they were the first people to leave. My family were the last people to leave. And I looked up to God, and I realized that I have to be grateful for what I have, because there's somebody worse, in a worse position than me. And that's what God taught me. And that's what God wants me to teach you. And that's what God wants you to teach others. The next thing that will help you out of your lowest hour is taking care of your body. Our body is a temple. It's a gift. I don't know where I read this, but there is 1 in 64 trillion odds that you were born. 1 in 64 trillion. The RNA and DNA required to make a human being, required to make a living organism from that lineage on through millions of evolution. Your family has survived thousands of wars, thousands of massacres, thousands of plagues, and you're reacted here. So imagine that. Take care of your body. It's a gift. If you're at your lowest hour, I highly recommend you to start the gym. Start going to the gym, work on your body, and I can guarantee you can come back to this video, leave a comment, or personally DM me on Twitter. I will personally help you out if it didn't help you, but I know for a fact that if you start going to the gym, if you start taking care of your body, you will increase your happiness by magnitudes. I was at my lowest point, and I thought the gym was the last place to go. Why the fuck would I go to the gym if I can't even go outside and see other people? Why would I stay there for an hour and look at other people and work out with them? But once I started my journey, it was amazing. My mood improved, my depression went away, I was a happier person overall. So start the gym, start working out, even if you don't want to go to the gym, even if you have social anxiety, if you're an introvert, you can't face people. I know how you feel. I have an anxiety issue too. I hated going to the gym alone. I had no friends, but I hated being in the vicinity of people. I was afraid of making mistakes. I thought people would make fun of me for lifting weights the wrong way or doing the wrong exercise. I was in your shoes. So even if you can't go to the gym, start working out at home. Push-ups, pull-ups, go on YouTube, search how to work out at home, calisthenics. There are so many options, but start working out on your body. And lastly, build discipline. Discipline is the one thing that will get you what you want. At my lowest hour, I realized without discipline, I cannot get anywhere. I was waiting for motivation at my lowest hour. I know how motivation feels. Motivation is the worst emotion a man can face. I know how radical I sound, how stupid I sound, but this is what I'm trying to tell you. Motivation is the worst emotion a man can face. It's a fake discipline. It motivates you for the moment. It tells you that everything's gonna be all right. It tells you that you're gonna sustain this motivation the next day and the next day, and you will achieve what you want. It's only short-lived. It lasts for a couple of seconds and it's gone. It gives you hope and it leaves. That's the worst part about motivation. It gives you false hope and it leaves. And when I was in my lowest hour, I got the motivation, but I realized that it was false. I needed discipline. Start working on discipline. Once you become disciplined in a field, maybe it's coding, maybe it's becoming a bodybuilder. Once you start becoming disciplined in the field, you will start earning money. You will start helping other people through your money. So to sum up, practice gratitude, help people who are in worse positions than you, work on your body, and build discipline. These 4 pillars are what God calls you to do. This is what God wants you to do if you're at your lowest hour. And if you're at your highest hour, I urge you to look down below you. Look at the people who are suffering. Look at the people at their lowest hour and try to help them. Even a small, tiny bit of help. Even a YouTube video about telling about your struggles, just how as I'm doing it. Even a small video, 2-minute video about preaching about your struggles and how you overcame it will be enough to help at least 2 to 3 people. Even if I get 2 to 3 views on this video, I know I've done my job and I'm happy and I don't want anything else. Until next time.